Welcome back to Straight Facts. It's Wednesday. I'm joined by Don Hussam and Judge Mo. Lots to talk about today as we look through and look ahead. Look back, at last night's Champions League games and the fallout after the Vinícius Júnior incident. Jose Mourinho's absolutely ridiculous comments that have been made. Plus, we're looking to head to more Champions League games tonight and a huge game in the Premier League between Wolves and Arsenal, as Arsenal can go 7 points clear. We're touching on Bukayo Saka's new 5-year deal, as well as some have come out and condemned the length, time and timing of the new contract as well. Like, share and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And just a reminder to everyone tuning in, easier to do it at the start. From next week, for the following 3 weeks, we'll be going live around 4:15 in the afternoon, just to accommodate both Mo and Sam, who are, of course, fasting during Ramadan, breaking their fast, having prayers. So we're just going to start at 4:15, just so you all know for the future, to keep yourselves and eyes open for that. But gentlemen, good afternoon. Hope you're both well. How are things?
Big up everyone locked in. Ramadan Kareem to everyone fasting as well. Big up to all of you guys. Make sure guys are liking and subscribing. And I look forward to the show. Premier League football as well back this weekend. Champions League qualifiers, Arsenal Wolves tonight. So there's a lot for us to unpack. So big up to everyone. And as Terry said, obviously just for the next 3 weeks from next week onwards, it's going to be 4:15 and then back to usual scheduling. So big up to Terry and Mo. Big up to all of you guys locked in.
Yeah, people. Ramadan Mubarak, everyone. I'm fasting. Hussam is not fasting today. Just remember this. He's not fasting. He's not doing Ramadan.
Ramadan starts on Thursday.
He's not doing Ramadan.
Starts on Thursday. He's in the Western Hemisphere.
Anyway, we do the NASA stuff.
Obviously, look, there's quite a lot to go through today, but the trending news, and we can't ignore it, and I want to get your opinions on it, and I'm sure the viewers, have a lot to say in relation to last night, now that more has transpired since we were last live on the terrace, with Benfica defending their player and putting out a ridiculous video stating that the players were too far away from Prestiani to hear what he said. The player himself has denied it and saying that Vinícius misheard him. Vinícius has doubled down and gone in, and rightfully so, on the situation, stating that he heard what he heard, that there should be no place for this in football, that he shouldn't be allowed to play in a Champions League again. Jose Mourinho has, and we didn't know about this when we were live, I don't think last night. Maybe it did come out when we were live. I've done a lot of content the last 24 hours. But Mourinho has come out and blamed Vinícius Júnior for the celebration and claimed that Benfica cannot be a racist club because Eusebio is one of their heroes or their greatest ever hero. At the same time, multiple footage of fans doing monkey gestures. And in fact, the video footage that Benfica put out to defend their player, reportedly, I've seen about 30 different people quote tweet it, that if you listen carefully, in the background of the video is a grown man referring to Vinícius as a black, and then there's some sort of pejorative afterwards. So an absolute disaster from Benfica, if that's true. But Sam, we obviously spoke to Mo about this last night on the match reaction. Just an horrendous day in football when a player is subjected to this type of bigotry.
Of course, I was watching the game, and at the time when you're watching the game, you really don't know what's going on. You don't understand. Like, even the commentators on beIN Sport were clueless, so I literally had no idea what was going on. But the comments afterwards, is just crazy comments by Jose, which I don't expect from him really at all. I really don't expect from Jose Mourinho these type of comments. I mean, Liverpool aren't a racist club, but Luis Suarez was racist. So, like, you don't have to be a racist institution. An individual can still make an error. The Football Terrace is not a racist institution. If someone makes a mistake, it has nothing to do with the institution. So this is not about Benfica. It's about that Prestiani kid making the mistake that he made. And, he has to be punished. It's the truth. Racism has no place in football, and it's the truth. And people shouldn't be disrespected at all on a football pitch based on their ethnicity, based on where they're from, based on stuff like that. I don't think that's acceptable at all, player to player. And I think Vinícius Júnior is actually fighting the good fight in football, in my opinion. I think a lot of people online like have this sort of vendetta against Vini, which I don't agree with at all. I think at the end of the day, he's someone that is experiencing racism and he's calling it out. And there's many people in previous eras, as we've heard, the legends come out and speak up. Many people in previous eras did not speak up. Vinícius is now speaking up, and I support him. I'm not one of these people online that will like make this about Vini. No, it's about that guy saying that stuff to him. So if it's confirmed, like he said, and of course there's now microphones and stuff, and you can hear stuff, and you can look at replays, and you can analyze and stuff like that, and they find him guilty, then he should have a severe punishment for racism. I don't know if you saw Tchouameni's quotes. Did you see what Tchouameni said?
No, I haven't seen his.
Basically, Tchouameni said that they said that he didn't call Vini a monkey. He called Vini a FAGOT. So that's
yeah.
Just search up Tchouameni and you'll read.
Which crazily enough, I mean, is still something that's bannable within football because it's still a bigoted comment. I mean, I'm not going to get into a war around what is worse. Like, I have my opinions, other people have theirs. They're both wrong to be saying and everything else. And I'm not too sure why, but the comments aren't pulling through to StreamYard, which is annoying.
Yeah, this happened recently. So
yeah,
they are. I checked. They are on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah,
they're coming through on YouTube. I can see them on YouTube. I just can't see them on. You
have slow mode on.
No. It's just they're not coming through. The last comment that came through was 4 minutes ago. I wonder why there's no comments coming through with everybody that was watching. So if you super chat today, we will read them out. We may not be able to put them on the screen. Just to let you all know. Yeah. Look, we'll get to Vinícius in a minute.
Can I tell you something before you come in there? I actually think we need to separate Vinícius Júnior from the racist comments. Regardless of if you think he's mocking you or taunting you, whatever, you cannot just excuse that by calling him something racist, right? Like, this is what everyone in the world, you might not like Vinícius, you might not like his antics, you know what I mean? You might not like Cunha's antics when he celebrates and dances, or Paqueta's antics, or whatever, you know what I mean? Number one, Brazilians have been dancing in front of corner flags since I was 5 years old. That is not something new, you know what I mean? And they've been dancing in every stadium. Ronaldinho did it in front of the Santiago Bernabeu. Ronaldinho did it against Inter when he scored for Milan. It happens. That is not an excuse for you to call him a racist slur. You know what I mean? That is not. And them doing that is kind of... And Mourinho saying that, and Martin Clattenburg, because I went back and heard what Martin Clattenburg said. I know that you're saying Vinícius put himself in a tough place. Yeah, he put himself in a tough place for the referee, not for the slur word, not for the racist. They want to put it on Vini, right, so bad, because there's a lot of people that don't like this dancing thing, which is fine. I don't like the dancing. I don't like you trying to instigate a fight with the fans or something. But number one, we didn't know what the fans said to him before he scored. They might have been mocking him the whole game, and he's just shushing them or responding to them. We don't know that. And he didn't do anything crazy. He just danced. And I'm going to tell you something. To be honest with you, I was speaking with my friends yesterday on a game. I was playing a football match, and they're saying that these things happen in football. And again, and I told you this yesterday, Terry, if his teammates and his clubs don't stand against him, it will happen again. And it's as simple as this. They will do it again. And Mourinho defending him and Benfica defending the guy, this is the problem. It's literally the problem. It's not the problem with the guy saying it.
I'm going to move on to that in a second, right? By the way, Roger Miller was absolutely celebrated for dancing by the corner flag.
World Cup.
The fact that it's now looked at by racists as a trigger point to attack people is hilarious. If it wasn't so sad, it would be hilarious. I'm going to touch on Jose in a minute because I'm very disappointed in him because of how much respect and how much I look up to him in the game. But I think you're right about separating Vinícius Júnior from the comment for a moment, because if a lot of people don't like Vinícius, so it seems to have this effect of, I know they said something wrong, and that but for me is one of the big issues here. There is nothing Vinícius can do on a football pitch that warrants the racism. Now, I've seen some of the comments that have come in, and people go, Terry, there's no proof he did it. he's got his shirt over his mouth. You have no idea what he said. Well, this is one of the benefits of growing up poor and on a council estate, that you can read through the bullshit. You don't have to be able to prove things to know what's what. I grew up on a council estate where you knew and everybody knew what house was selling illegal substances. But the police never stopped them. Why? Because it was always done in a way where they didn't really have the real evidence. Now, none of us were going to be grasses because none of us were grasses. But I remember you used to sit there as a young kid and go, I don't understand how we all know what they're doing in that house, but yet nobody stopped it. It was because they couldn't really prove it. It was done in a fairly clever way. There was kids that, a car window would be smashed. Whether you saw it or you just heard it and then you looked out the window, you kind of knew who did it by the way they were saying they didn't do it. But there weren't any proof, but we all knew who did it. And that, for me, is the benefit of growing up in that type of environment, is that I don't need proof. I can tell by his body language. Now, some of you may agree with me. Some of you may disagree with me. But there's a few key points as to why I truly believe he did it. One, his own statement. He's come out and said, they misheard me. And that's all he said. Why haven't you provided what you said? The reason being, the accusation is he called Vinícius a monkey. So the word monkey in Spanish is mono, towards a man. I think mona if it's feminine, mono if it's a man. Now, I don't know the Spanish language, but contextually, in a moment where you're insulting somebody, what other word sounds like mono that you can be confused with? Because if there is a swear word that is moni or monet or momo, I don't know, right? I don't know Spanish words. I don't know Spanish slang. If there's a word that sounds like it, would you not say that? If I or Sam or Mo were accused of saying something bigoted, you'd go, hang on a minute. That's not what I said. This is what I said. Secondly, why are you hiding your entire face? I get players talk like this when they're talking a little bit privately, talking tactics. I get it. But why are you covering your whole face? And there's 2 or 3 occasions before that where he was arguing and said stuff and he pulled his shirt over his face and he said something. That tells me, and it tells everybody with common sense, you're saying something heinous that could get you in big trouble. Thus, you are covering your face. It's one of the reasons the old Italian mafia used to walk around on the street talking like this because they knew they were being filmed by the FBI. So if you weren't saying anything that was illegal, you wouldn't need to cover your mouth, would you? Now, this isn't a court of law. Football fans don't need to prove what they're saying. We all know. We can feel it. So you absolutely have to separate it. And Benfica, I spoke about this earlier today, and I'm going to say it again for people that haven't seen it. They're absolutely, in their ridiculous defense, they posted a video that shows how close Vinícius, Camavinga, and Mbappe were to the situation. And their claim is they couldn't have heard the player. They couldn't have heard the insult. They couldn't have heard the comment because they're too far away. They were 2 to 3 yards away. But it's what comes afterwards in the video, boys, that's beautiful from a gotcha perspective. Vinícius then runs 15, 20 yards. Yes, he points at the player so he knows he's talking about him, but he says that he's just called me something racist. And the player throws his arms up, turns around and looks as guilty as hell. Now, how are you reacting like that? You click Benfica, no, you can't hear him because it's more than 3 yards. If you can't hear from 3 yards, you definitely can't hear from 15 to 20 yards. How do you know it's something like that? How do you know? Because no player runs to a referee to say, he just said my wife's a slag. He just called me a see you next Tuesday. He just told me to fuck off. No, and the referee wouldn't say anything. The referee said, go away. So he knows what he's told him. Now, if you're accused of doing something bigoted and you haven't done it, your reaction isn't to turn away and say nothing almost. Your reaction when Mbappe is calling you a racist to your face isn't to stand there and just take it on the chin and go, okay. That's what guilty people do that have been caught. Nobody would do that who just said a swear word, who just said something about his mother, who just said something about his girlfriend. Nobody would. You'd never sit there. You go, no, I didn't. This is what I said. Every normal human being reacts that way. This guy stands there just looking guilty, head down. Like his lip, you see his lip kind of like moving a little bit. What the man said was disgusting. We all know he's done it. I think everyone with a brain knows he's done it. I think the flag shaggers know that he's done it. They just don't want to admit it because people like to pretend that this type of incident barely happens in football, or when it does, it's exaggerated and blown out of proportion. So they're just burying their heads in the sand because they don't want to have to admit that we still have problems like this in society and in our game. And it's an absolute disgrace on every single level. The hard thing is now to punish him, because there won't be, other than people that have heard it, there won't be any evidence because he covered his mouth up. But for me, I'm looking at his body language, his reaction, the ridiculous defense from his club, the ridiculous defense from himself. I'm saying ban the geezer. I'm saying ban him.
Yeah, same. I say like ban the guy. He has to, by the way, he has to actually defend himself. He needs to go to court and actually say what he said. Tell us what you said. Prove that you didn't say. Say the word that you said to see what, like exactly what you said, Terry. So it's going to happen again. The problem is Benfica is a big club. They're going to try to protect him. Mourinho's trying to protect him. I don't know why. And listen, I don't understand. The guy looks guilty as hell, bro. He looks guilty as hell. Once he said the word, he looks guilty. Why are you covering your mouth? Just be a man. If you don't think the word you said is racist, just don't cover your mouth then. Say it. Yeah. Say it without covering your mouth. It's disgusting.
What do you guys make of what Jose Mourinho said? Jose Mourinho has come out and had a go at him for celebrating the way that he did. And secondly, said that there can't be racism at Benfica because our greatest ever player is Eusebio and he was a black player. What do you make of the way Jose has defended his player here?
I'm to be honest, I'm shocked at Jose Mourinho, because if you recall during the game, Jose actually called Vinícius over and they had a conversation. I'm sure you saw it, like in the game when the whole game was stopped. They had a conversation with each other, and it seemed like Mourinho was like supportive of Vinícius. And even Vinícius post game, I think, or one of the Madrid players came out and like said something good about, I think it was Mbappe that said something about Mourinho and like how he's a Madrid legend, blah blah blah. That's probably before hearing what Mourinho said. Look, Mo mentioned it and I agree with it. Let's say Salah scores a 90th minute winner at Old Trafford to seal top 4 and eliminate Man United from Champions League football, and he runs around Old Trafford shushing the crowd. He shushes the whole crowd. That's not an excuse for someone in the crowd to go like you're a terrorist. That's just not how it goes. People have been celebrating and dancing and shushing crowds and doing these things since the start of time. These things have been happening forever. In much more, in even more, like if you'd like dangerous, affairs. This is Benfica Madrid. It's not even a derby or anything. So like, like things like this have happened in Rangers, Celtic, Boca River. It's happened in all the derbies around the world. Al Faisali, Al Wahdat in Jordan. It happens. So you can't insult someone racially just because they're celebrating. So you have to be able to celebrate on the football pitch, regardless whichever way you want, as long as you're not insulting anyone. And it's okay, to be honest with you. And for me, Jose Mourinho's comments are mad. I did not expect it from Jose at all.
I want to add something. So it's okay for fans to cuss someone, to cuss their mom, to cuss their whole family. Like we know the song that was said about every single player. Listen, I've been to England and I know the songs that have been sung in the stadiums about Harry Maguire, about clubs, about players. So fans can dish it but cannot take it. I'm sure you literally called him every name under the sun before he scored the goal. And now he's responding to you by scoring the goal and celebrating in your face. Why is it okay for fans to do everything? Like no one says ban the fans if they like call someone see you next Tuesday or something. No one says that. He just called players every name every day, right? As long as it's not bigotry, as long as it's not racist. And Vinícius, like Lucas Paqueta danced in front of the fans. Why nobody called him a racist? Everyone that dances now, should be called a racist word. Yeah. Oh, come on, and Jose Mourinho should know better than this. Diallo said it. Diallo said it in that. It's like Mourinho said, "I have a black friend."
I mean, on the celebration stuff, I said it earlier today, and I'll keep repeating this. Jose. He may not have been the first manager to do it, but in the modern era, the Premier League era, the way he celebrated before he joined. The way he literally celebrated at Porto, for Porto at Old Trafford. Some of the celebrations as the Chelsea manager, as the Madrid manager, as the Inter manager, as the Man United manager. Some of the things I've seen him do, I think, as much as they're often sometimes petulant, sometimes have gone a bit too far, we all, in our heart of hearts, enjoy that element of football. Jose has been a character from day one. So for him to call out somebody celebrating is an abomination. What he is essentially saying, and maybe he's made further comments since, and obviously what he said was in Portuguese and it was translated into English, so I'm open to the idea that some things have been lost. But he essentially has said, you celebrating the way you did created that entire fight, ruckus, and the comments that were made and the booing in the stadium. He then states that there's always an incident surrounding Vinícius Júnior. And a lot of people today have been tweeting about, well, why is it always Vinícius Júnior? And it isn't Mbappe, it isn't Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Rudiger. Well, first of all, you're doing something really naive and acting out as though those players haven't ever suffered any kind of racial abuse, either on social media, in a stadium, from other players. And I'm sure they have. And I know for a fact Mbappe has. I remember the stories about it. The reason Vinícius Júnior has become a target is because I think a lot of players, rightly or wrong, I'm not judging them. I'm not judging any player that suffers any type of bigotry because I'm not in their position. But because Vinícius Júnior speaks up, he becomes a target of the gammons and the flag shaggers. He becomes a target of, well, why are you making a thing about this? Why don't you shut up, be a good little boy, sit in the corner and let me pat you on the head? Because he's saying no, and he's standing up against it, and he's making noise about it, and he's putting pressure upon the authorities to take it seriously. Because of the abuse he's had has led to fans going to prison. Villarreal fans went to prison over it. And again, rightfully so. What happens is the bigots hate him for it, because what they want is everybody to be quiet and submissive and shut up and sit in the corner. So the people asking the question, oh, it might be wrong what he did, but it seems to always be Vinícius. No, there's a reason there's a target on his back. There's a reason for it. There's a reason that why. And if I offend anybody when I'm saying this, I'm sorry. If I word it wrong, I'm sorry. But this is coming from the right place. There's a reason why Kante, everyone loves Kante, but there'll be a percentage of football fans who hate Pogba, because Pogba ticks boxes that bigots hate. He's got a flashy haircut in their eyes, dresses too flamboyantly, his cars are too nice, dances a little bit, has a glint in his eye. Maybe the girls will like him. Certain types of people hate that. Kante's a good boy. He's a good boy. He's a nice lad. Oh, he's fine, him. Pogba, no. Fuck him. There's people that think like that in England, Spain, Italy, Portugal, Germany, Brazil, Argentina, America, Australia, all around every fucking country in the world. There's people like that. And at the end of the day, this is why certain players, Pogba was one of them, Vinícius is another, they get called out. Because one, they live how they want to be. Now, by the way, I'm not suggesting that Kante was quiet and humble and mild-mannered because he felt like he had to be. That's just his personality. That's the way I actually met him a few times in my old job. A lovely bloke. And by the way, I haven't met Paul Pogba, but I know people that know him. And again, a lovely bloke. But he's just more of an extrovert. And he dresses the way, I couldn't dress like Pogba. I'd look like an idiot. But fair play to the man for doing it. I couldn't dress like Beckham in his pomp. But fair play for doing it. But people attack it because of their own insecurities. So whenever I hear people go, but it's like, when you've got someone like Jose, kind of, whether he's meant it or not, you're dog whistling to the wrong type of people to go, yeah, it's a bad accusation, but it's always Vinícius. Have you noticed it's always Vinícius? There's a reason it's Vinícius more than other players, because he's a bigger target, because he stands up for himself and he doesn't move away publicly from who he is. He does not behave or conduct himself in a manner that isn't him, just because bigots will try and shoot him down. And for me, this is where football fans have got to stand up, engage your brain, be braver. Don't just dog whistle to the wrong types of people, because I don't want them type of people around me anyway. And you got to stand up for it. And Jose Mourinho, a man that I have tremendous respect for as a footballing man, has gone down somewhat in my estimations for what he said yesterday, let alone the Eusebio played here, therefore there can be no racism nonsense. He might as well have said, we can't be racist because we've got color TVs. Like, it's that. These are the kind of things people used to say back in the day. Absolutely heinous, ridiculous, nasty comments. And I cannot believe a man of his standing in the game and his intelligence as a human being has had the audacity and stupidity to say that. It's horrendous.
Yeah, listen, it happens everywhere, Terry. I don't understand why they had to defend him. I don't know. Why did he have to defend the player? That is what I keep asking myself. Why did he have to defend the player? I don't know. The club itself, like, why do you feel like you have to defend your player if player made something? I don't know. Why the manager has to defend his player? I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know. Like,
there we go. Someone here says, Terry, the word mimo means stupid or silly in Spanish. It could have been mimo. Cool. Fair. Then why wouldn't you say that in your statement? Why wouldn't you say I was calling him a fool? I was calling him stupid. I was calling him
and
mimo.
Why are you covering your mouth?
And why would you cover your mouth to call someone stupid? Now again, like I'm saying, it might maybe that's happened, but you would state that, wouldn't you? And then you've got to answer the question of why are you covering your mouth? Why are you doing that? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's ridiculous. Let's do some of your comments that have come through here. The first one says Rodri literally ran to the Rodri literally ran to the Arsenal fans, home fans, took his shirt off and screamed in their faces. And guess what? Not one racism allegations to be had. Now, look, all of our fan bases over the course of a year will have arrests for these things. There isn't a fan base in the Premier League, the big clubs I'm talking, that won't have arrests over it. We've all got fans that do it. But what you haven't seen in England since, the big clubs I'm talking, maybe it's happened at lower levels. I can't think of an incident since John Terry when a player had reacted that way. And before that, it was Luis Suarez. And prior to that, it was a long time ago. So, again, I'm not defending English football like we're perfect. We've got a lot of problems over here. But at the same time, like, this type of thing needs to be shut down as soon as it happens. There can be no excuses for it. I think he did say something racist, hard to prove since probably only him and Vini know. Court of public opinion, guilty, but not enough to ban him. There is truth in that as well. And I do feel a little bit for UEFA here, because if there is no hard proof, if Camavinga and Mbappe go, no, we didn't actually hear it, we're just trusting Vinícius, it becomes a very difficult thing because the ban is 10 games. They're in a very, very tricky situation here. Maybe they've got to do something new now. Maybe off the back of this, it's got to be a case of no more covering your face to talk. And if you're accused of something, but you've deliberately covered your face to say it, we're going to treat it as guilty. That maybe is going to have to be something they now bring in to stop people from doing this and speaking.
Yeah, 100%.
They're going to have to do it, because what might end up happening here is almost like a loophole where they can't punish him because they don't have the evidence, just one word against another, but he's covered his face. So therefore and I'm talking everything. They're going to say that's a bookable offense. Doing this is a bookable offense. They're going to probably have to do that now in football because of this fucking moron coward weasel. I agree, Terry, but don't they all almost most of the time cover their mouths with their hands or shirts when talking with each other on the pitch? You know, I think some of that, again, this is where the media's got to play its role. I think they do it because they don't want the media lip reading and then printing what they've said. And that's kind of fair, because it might be a private conversation. Who knows what they're saying? It might be a case of, listen, I know you're not on our team, but you're going to meet us at the bar later. There's a couple of nice girls coming. They don't want that being lip read and then put in a newspaper. So maybe now the media's got to do a better job of, to get what I mean, leaving what's being said. Yeah. So there is a thing here. So I do hear you. Who knows what they say? Who knows? When can you dance at the Emirates? I loved it. I can't lie. It's from Diallo. Yeah, I mean, what you didn't have is, Declan Rice run up to him and call him a racial slur because he did that. I mean, I agree. One day I will talk on Argentinian football culture. Yeah, that's what I'll be honest with you. There obviously been some big incidents in the last 12 months or so. It's something I'd love to see studied, because again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be an expert. And that's where you've got to be really, really careful that you don't just make assumptions. And I'm not defending anybody here, but I don't want to make an assumption about an entire nation based off the actions of this player and some footballers on a bus. But I certainly, a lot of people think there needs to be an investigation into it, and I think an investigation is what's needed. Sadly, I think we'll see more of this short term. Hate and ignorance is fueled. That's stoking the fire at the moment, bleeds into every part of culture and society. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Patrick here says, big up Mo, Hassam, and Terry. Favorite show of the week. Looking forward to the discussions. Hope Ramadan goes okay for you both.
Big up, big up, big up. I look forward to Ramadan. Time. Big up.
So one thing I miss about my one of my old jobs at the bank is when I was working in the branches, I worked in 2 branches that had, one was in Whitechapel in East London and one was in East Ham, very heavily populated with Muslim people, a lot of staff Muslim, a lot of the customers. And I fasted I joined in with the fasting. I only lasted 2 weeks each time. I'm not going to lie. But I kind of enjoyed it, and it wasn't so the fasting was horrible. I'm not gonna lie, that was nasty. Like, it was really hard. What I actually enjoyed was breaking fast in the evening, going out. Like, we went out like every night to a restaurant or someone's house. That part of it I really enjoyed in terms of the social side of it and stuff like that. It was great fun back in the day. Big up, I know Such, you might be watching, and Shah, because I know they tune in. They messaged me yesterday on LinkedIn saying we still watch the stuff. So big up, boys. Hope it's going well. Different lads now. You've grown up and had kids, haven't you? Yeah, it's funny. Ronaldinho danced before scoring against Chelsea. Yeah, he did. Terry, your guilt video is so good. Top analysis. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. And look, as I say, I've never shied away from talking about these things. Right back to all the stuff that happened with Raheem Sterling years ago on the Football Terrace, and I always will. Equally, I was the opposite side of the fence. You could maybe argue with the Enioluco stuff, where I didn't think the way she was being treated by Ian Wright and by the TV companies was sexist and racist. I think it was because of what she did and her behavior. So I'm not just going to sit there and always, point the finger in certain directions. I'll say what I truthfully think and what I truthfully feel in these circumstances, and listen, if you're not saying anything racist, if you're not saying anything bigoted or illegal, you wouldn't cover your face. You wouldn't cover your face in that scenario. It's a simple and a straightforward, normal people don't go to the bank wearing a balaclava and carrying a sawn-off shotgun. And at the end of the day, if it walks like a duck, sounds like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck. Well done, Tel. Well done for speaking on Vini. Why didn't you condemn Sir Jim? DJ. Oh, DJ. Listen, DJ, my old mate, I'm gonna get you something. I'm gonna get you something. I'm going to go and get you the link for the video where I condemned him. A standalone solo video condemning him, DJ. You melt. You utter clown. Oh, here we go. So it was 6 days ago I did the video. I'm going to share the link for you in the comment section. I'm going to title it, DJ Looks Silly. There we go. DJ Looks Silly. It's posted in the link for you. You can go and watch it, my friend. It was discussed. It was also discussed on 2 separate live streams as well. So you look rather soppy now, my old mucker. You look rather soppy, because it was absolutely called out. Absolutely did. So there we go. No. DJ's not kind to the platform. DJ's here a lot. He's a Chelsea fan. I know who he is. 110%. He isn't new to the platform.
Big up DJ, got cooked.
So yeah, I use the platform. I use my personal platform in my personal name. Got called out and got done. And we've covered it on multiple shows. Absolutely, been done. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. On my X as well, on my Twitter account too. Multiple tweets about it. Multiple comments about it. There we go. Have some crazy experiences with Argentinians here in Florida playing football. So many matches ended with brawls because of racism.
Wayne, I'm going to tell you something, Wayne.
Yeah, go on.
We cannot, Wayne, I'm going to tell you something. We cannot label a whole country with this because of even even if most of the people you meet do this, you cannot label all the country of doing that. You can't. There's millions of people. There's millions of Argentinians. Listen, the whole national team, like some of them sang a song. It doesn't mean that everyone is racist. We cannot do that. The generalization is a dangerous game. It's very dangerous, Wayne. I don't know where you're from. If someone did something wrong from where you're from, we're not going to label the whole country or something. We're not. We can't do that. This is one of the most dangerous games you can play, my man. It's one of the most dangerous games.
Yeah. Again, because that way you're moving exactly, and this is where I always push back the other side, is, I'm English, and I know some English people historically and today are these bigoted scumbags. But I won't take responsibility for what they do just because I'm English. I'll just condemn them. It's like this gym thing. A lot of people came to me. It's one of the things I spoke about on the Straight Fact show a few weeks ago, DJ, if you're still watching, if you haven't run off crying. When I will condemn Jim, I don't agree. I think his comments were irresponsible, inaccurate, horrible. At the same time, though, where I'll defend the circumstance is, don't try and use what Sir Jim said as a tool to beat me over the head with. Just because he's the owner of my club doesn't mean I agree with what he says or does. Doesn't make me guilty. Doesn't make me the same as him. The same as just because somebody else, you might meet an Argentinian person tomorrow, they may be absolutely nothing like this coward weasel who abused Vinícius Júnior last night. And I think it's really important to not generalize an entire group of people based on the actions of some. And I just, that's one of my biggest messages out there. Otherwise, we're all in bloody trouble, because there is, whether people like hearing it or not, there are stereotypes and nasty people and groups of people from every denomination, background, race, religion, nationality, and sex, at every facet of the world. And everyone will know them from their own communities, backgrounds, cultures. Yeah, I don't think we should be condemning everybody that shares, especially when you share an immutable factor with somebody that you can't control. Those things we've got to be very, very careful about. We really, really do. Please come through to the messages. Great food. Bruv, I love food. I'm trying to lose weight, so I doubt it. I'm just trying to eat eggs at the minute and a bit of veg. I'm trying to lose weight, but no, definitely. And by the way, DJ Sav, I know it's not you, different DJ, but he's also a Chelsea fan. I'm not sure if he's come back because the comments have dropped off of.
They dropped off again.
They've dropped off again, so I can't put them back up. So I can't put them on the screen, which is annoying when they do this. And maybe I'll go out and come back in again, and they'll come back up. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already, ladies and gentlemen. It means a great deal to us if you can. I was going to try something by going back in and back out again. I did that earlier and it seemed to work. So I'm going to log in for a different thing. So I'm going to take myself out, put myself back in, and hopefully on the new one, it works.
What is going on with them?
Hopefully now, they're back now. I think they're back. There we go. I've got to log back in, log back out. That's why I said football culture. No, I agree with you. There are certain parts of it.
Maybe
I'll give you an example. So my dad was a regular football goer when the height of English football hooliganism was at its peak. Now, my dad, if you met him, even in the 70s and 80s, looked like a football hooligan because he's 6'3". He went bald at 18 and he had a little bit of a beer belly. If you show like a picture of my dad in an England shirt, a lot of people go, "Oh, he definitely goes on marches with flags." Like he looks like that kind of. But my dad's the complete opposite. He's an absolute. He's a complete opposite of that type of person. So I've always been very sensitive to the idea. And what my brother Stag do. Little story for you all. We didn't know this because me and my friends we don't get involved in it. But we went out paintballing for my big brother's Stag do, and then we had my brother's friends and his football mates and workmates. Now, our group of friends are all from different backgrounds. Not that that is relevant as well because we couldn't believe what happened to us. It's relevant to the story. We then got off the tube. We said, right, we're gonna go out to a nightclub, but before that, we wanted to go for a curry. Now, going out for a curry, if you're in the East End of London, the best place to go is Brick Lane. Now, down Brick Lane, I mentioned him earlier, is a friend of mine, Such or Salik. There's an Indian restaurant down there called Salik's. Good friend of mine. We were going to eat there. We got out the train station. We got swarmed by the police. And they said, "Where are you guys going?" We said, "To get an Indian." Why? He's Stag do. That's why he's dressed like a girl. Well, I don't know what we dressed him up as something. Like, they were like, you sure you're on a stag do? We're like, yeah, why not? And the policeman said, because you look like you're joining the EDL march. And we kind of laughed a little bit because like 4 or 5 lads had gone bald and were a little bit muscly. But then you realize, like, yeah, like we did look like that. They didn't let us go through it. They said, don't go through there, it's all kicking off. And there was ended up being riots that day. So we had to go somewhere else and eat. But it's always sort of stuck with me. My dad looks like that. My dad was going to football games regularly in an era where English fans were all sort of generalized as thugs and hooligans. And it's hard because my dad got arrested before when he'd done nothing wrong, didn't go to some big football matches he wanted to go to because he got sort of caught up in the mix of idiots doing things. And because he looked like them, they dragged him in. Never got into any trouble because he wasn't that kind of bloke. But that's why I'm very much against just grouping all types of people together. That's a personal experience, plus what I've seen friends of mine go through and stuff like that. So we just got to be really careful with that kind of language on every level, in every direction. Bang on, Mo. People saying racism isn't okay and then go ahead and just generalize a whole nation. You can dislike Vini without being racist. You literally any other insults you can without it being
you can call him a rat. You can call him anything. You call him
a fraud, an idiot,
stupid, a moron. There are many things you can call the guy. I know it.
No, I agree.
You know, I'm going to tell you something in football. You know, people that played, you know what? They cuss each other's moms and then they do like mom thing, and it's okay. It happens on the pitch. You could have done that. You know what I mean? You didn't have to go to his skin color.
I agree.
Have to do this.
The super chats have dropped off again. DJ's back, and I can't put it on the screen. They have dropped off. Sorry, I can't do it. Nothing's come through now for like 4 minutes. It says, "Fair play, Terry. I ain't a clown, and I ain't wrong and strong with an inflated ego like you. I stand corrected." So Jim and Argentina is ingrained in their culture. Well, look, some it will be, some it won't be. And you know, as we just said, I'm not going to brand it without having the knowledge. You know, I'm not going to brandish an entire group of people from anywhere as one particular thing. I think that's as stupid, as bigoted, and as irresponsible as other comments we've heard from people like Jose in the last 24 to 48 hours. I love how you sort of admit that you're wrong, but have a pop at my ego. But I'm also someone that holds their hands up if they get something wrong. So the fact that you watch me as regularly as you do and say that I don't do that is crazy. This here from Marco says, Terry, if I remember, maybe I'm wrong, you promised you'd do a show with your dad. You speak highly of him. Would love to see that show. No, I did. Do you know what it is? We live quite far away from each other. And it's just timings, really. And my dad came out of retirement and started becoming a realtor, an estate agent at 70 odd years old. I don't know why, but he wanted to. So he's always really busy. And my dad's a bit of a workaholic like me. So we don't really see each other as much as we probably should.
By the way, they're on the screen now if you want to. They've loaded.
They're not. Are they loaded? Oh, yeah.
They're
loaded through. Yeah, that one's come through. Yes, that's come through now. There we go. Great. But yeah, no, that would be great. And DJ, that was yours as well. I want to put it up on the screen so you can see it. And Tommy here says, in Fatano release a statement, but it means nothing if there's no follow-up. FIFA should really take this incident seriously. If not now, when? Well, I'm not sure FIFA can do anything because it's under UEFA's, like it's a UEFA situation, but I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. In general, they've got to do something here. Moving on from this talking point, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has joined in and spoken about this as well, because I feel that it's a very emotive subject and a hard subject for some people to speak about. So thank you for the vast majority of you for being sensible and growing up and having this conversation. Before we get on to tonight's game, I wanted to ask you gents about the situation with I can't remember his name now. The new deal for Saka. New deal for Saka. And the reason I bring this up is, it's done it again. Sorry, I need to just move something because I came out.
I look good anyway. I look good.
Everyone, welcome to Footy Judgment.
Here we go. We're all in now.
They're taking over. Jim Ratcliffe was right.
Love it. You see that there though? See people, that's a joke. That's something you can laugh at because it's said in context. Yeah, context, funny. I like that. This is what Andy Goldstein has had to say about Bukayo Saka's new £300,000 a week deal. Let's take a little listen.
To the end of the season and wants to leave, it's going to cost clubs way too much to get him.
I don't think he'd want to, even if they didn't win a trophy.
What's more important to him, being loyal or winning trophies?
Where's he going to go?
Well, he could go to a number of clubs. Could go to City.
Ooh,
couldn't he?
Could do.
I mean, you look amazing on the right there.
Like Nasri did.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Well, lots of Arsenal players have left to win trophies. Right?
Everyone. But I just think he's looking at where Arsenal are at the moment.
Could go to Liverpool, replace Salah.
Yeah, he could do, yeah. But he's probably thinking, Liverpool a better squad of players than Arsenal? No,
Liverpool have won the Premier League, right, recently.
Yeah. But
won the Champions League.
But
Arsenal have never won the Champions League.
I know that because our teams have, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, yeah.
But I look at him and say, you've come through the academy, you've been brought through, this is your club, you're loved by the fans, adored, your manager loves you, you're one of the captains of the football team, you know when you're fit, you're starting.
Yeah, but all that will be relevant at the end of the season.
Yeah, but
why sign it now? I just don't get it. I wouldn't.
Maybe the club probably says, like, listen, we don't want you to be down to 12 months, and he's got the respect and love for the club. And
but can't he say to the club, listen, I'll sign it. We win the Premier League. You have my word. I'll sign it.
Yeah, but the club's not going to accept that, are they? The club's going to be like, listen, we don't want players going down to a year left.
He's got all the cards.
I know.
So Andy Goldstein is essentially saying Saka shouldn't have signed it now, and because he might want to leave if they don't win any trophies at the end of the season, and saying that Arsenal are also a bit silly for doing it because it'll be really hard to sell him if he doesn't make. If he wants to leave this summer because they don't win anything because he just signed a new long-term deal. It's the first time I've really seen this where a top player at a club that's top of the league, top of the Champions League groups and favourites to win it in a cup final, one of the best players signed a new deal and it's been condemned and been slammed and is being spoken about as though it's a bad thing for Arsenal and Saka. What do you gents make of that?
You start first, Mo.
I recorded the video about this actually earlier, and I said that for some whatever reason, this particular freaking contract, it rattles a lot of people, and I don't know why. It's not only Andy Goldstein, it's rattling people, the 300K that Saka's getting. I actually think that him signing the contract now is giving the team a boost. And I actually said that on my video, Terry, and I think everyone agrees with this. Bukayo Saka committing his future to Arsenal now, when everyone is talking about the pressure, they're going to crumble, is telling people that a player like Bukayo Saka trusts his team, trusts his manager, trusts the club, that they're going to go and win trophies. And it's the right thing. If he leaves it until the end of the season, that tells people that he's waiting, which is exactly what Andy Goldstein wants to happen. Andy Goldstein wants that Saka to doubt Arsenal, to doubt the club, to doubt the team. So he did the opposite of that. However, the question that we'll talk about later is, and I know that, is if Arsenal don't win trophies, do you think that Saka should go and shine somewhere else? Do you think he has the ability to go and shine somewhere else? That's a different story. I disagree with Andy Goldstein about Saka not being able to sold. Saka is going to be, so if they want to sell Saka, he's going to be, it's easy to sell him. He's he's 20, young star, 24 years old. They're going to be able to sell him for sure. But I don't know why this contract is like, it's a big deal. Like Foden signed the 300K a week contract. There's other people that are gay just signed the 300K a week contract. So I don't understand why Saka signing the contract. By the way, he has only 18 months left. So only this season and next season, it's only 2027. So by the end of the season, you'll have 1 year left. And now comes the problems. Trent was a problem. Konate is a problem for Liverpool. Salah is a problem. Arsenal being proactive and signing him for a new contract is something that you need to do with your star boy. And they literally this. He's your star boy. So
the thing is, like, now I think wages as well in football is a lot different. I mean, Mo had to fight for a long time to get 450 grand a week, but the likes of Gakpo are on like 250 and multiple other players around the league, you know, with their wages. I don't think there's anything wrong with Arsenal giving Saka 300 grand a week. I don't think that will have a problem for him leaving for an important reason. If Saka does leave Arsenal, with all due respect, Saka's not going to Aston Villa or to Bournemouth. If Saka leaves Arsenal, he's going to go to Madrid, Barca, Man City, Liverpool, clubs like this who can also afford his wages anyway. You know, like if Saka joins Liverpool, let's say the hypothetical that they said on the video happens and Saka joins Liverpool to replace Mo, then Liverpool can give him 325, 350 grand a week. So can City, so can Bayern, so can all the top clubs in the world. So I don't think there is an issue in terms of like his wages and them moving him on. I just think, like, you know, with this conversation regarding Saka, you have to be able to keep your best players, and this is something that Arsenal have consistently done over the last 3 years. So have Liverpool, and you have to give credit, because Liverpool and Arsenal, and the reason why I'm relating it to my club, because these things have happened to us as well, is over the last 15 years or so, we have been selling clubs. We have sold a lot of players. We have sold a lot of people that didn't want to stay. Suarez, Sterling, blah, blah, blah. You look at Arsenal, as they mentioned, Nasri, Clichy, Fabregas, so many players left Arsenal. And now you're keeping your best players, but you're complaining about the wages. Like, it's just, you can't play both games. You cannot play both games. You know, Saliba as an example, saying, I want to stay at Arsenal. You can always have one example of a player that wants to leave. Like, let's say maybe in the summer, Madrid come in for Gabriel, and it's dream to play for Madrid or Barca or whatever. You'll understand if he wants to leave. Like, maybe as an Arsenal fan you won't, but me from the outside looking in, I would understand that. But, you know, you're keeping your best players. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. And, you know, I think people are just complaining for the sake of it.
What is wrong with Saka trusting that the team will win trophies? I don't understand this. I don't understand this.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's wrong with it. You're absolutely right. The Andy Goldstein point could come true. He could sign the new deal, the same as Saliba and Odegaard and the other sort of stalwarts and the main core. And they win nothing this season, nothing next season, nothing the year after. And Arsenal have, you could argue, essentially wasted that money, that investment, because there's no trophies at the end of it. You could argue the players have wasted their career, parts of their careers. They might be harder to sell in 2 seasons' time. I doubt it, because these are all top players that even if you dislike Arsenal or you dislike Arteta, by and large, these players are rated. And Saka's one of those guys that everyone slags off. But if Chelsea announced tomorrow they were signing him, Don would go straight onto Wisecout, straight onto the stats, and work out a way of praising him. Okay? It's a fact. No, it's true. It's absolutely true. All these, I've seen the amount of people I've seen slag Declan Rice off. If your club signed him tomorrow, you'd go and you'd wax lyrical. We know this is, by and large, is the truth. The reason that Andy Goldstein is annoyed, the reason that people are annoyed, is because it sends the message the players trust what they're doing. The players all trust Arteta. The players trust, I'm going to use the word, trust the process. And it annoys people that they don't have another thread to pull on. They don't have the thread of, oh, you know, this guy's Delaney's. Do you remember a few weeks ago when Declan Rice was shown on the pitch saying, why are we always so shit? And people looked at that, he's losing faith in Arteta. Oh my God. No, it was just self-deprecation that most athletes do when they mess up. You know, we've seen athletes in all sports have a bad run. I've been watching the Winter Olympics. I was really enjoying the snowboarding and the skiing where they're doing the jumps and flips and stuff. And I see some of those guys, really good athletes, according to the presenters. I don't know who any of these people are, but I do now. But I was watching it and they'd fall or they'd make a little mistake. And one guy was shouting at himself, "You're so stupid. You're such an idiot. You're so bad." And it turns out, I didn't know who he was. Turns out he's been the most successful snowboard ex-jumper in like the last 10 years. But it's the way he spoke to himself. Doesn't mean he's really lost faith in himself. Some people just talk to themselves like that. There are a certain group of people, Andy Goldstein's one of them, Arteta Routers are another. They're like this every day, right? You know how like a wolf's looking for a bit of prey? They're like, well, I need to find something weak about Arsenal so I can jump on it. I need to find something weak, a weak lamb that I can jump onto. That's all it really is. And Saka signing a new deal sends the message that they mean business and that the players are bought into it. And people just can't accept it. Now, it's a different argument if you think Arsenal made a mistake because Saka's past his best. That actually makes more sense as an argument than, why would he sign a new deal now? It makes no sense. Well, it does. It means he trusts Arteta and he trusts Arsenal and he believes they're going to win. And it makes sense for Arsenal because if he does decide to leave in the summer, you're going to make more money. And people will buy Bukayo. If Bukayo Saka put in a transfer request tomorrow morning, nearly every single club in the world is going to inquire about him. Whether people like hearing that or not, everybody's going to inquire about him. Every top 16, every top Spanish, top German, PSG, all of them will make some sort of inquiry into the player. They may not pursue it, but they'll look at him. Yeah, I just think this is sour grapes. Sour grapes because Arsenal have done some good business. And like always, when it comes to Arsenal, people just can't be objective. And it's so jarring. It's so jarring to listen to Andy Goldstein say that. It's just, and I like Andy Goldstein. He's a United fan. He can be funny at times. But I often sit there and think, is he just making this argument to be controversial? Or does he actually think it? It feels to me like he might just be...
No, actually... No. There's a lot of people that think that, actually. There's a lot of people. This is even when Saliba signed a new contract. There's a lot of people that think that Arsenal players should leave Arsenal if they don't win the Premier League. And actually, I think that Andy Goldstein, it comes from a place of liking Bukayo Saka for England. He said that before. I saw him saying that Bukayo Saka is going to be the starter for England. There's a lot of people that value Bukayo Saka. Don't listen to the people that tell you that Bukayo Saka is not a good player. No, he is a very good player. He's arguably now still England's best right winger. Just a lot of people don't think that Arsenal will win trophies, and they want to see Saka go to a new place to win trophies. They want Saka to go to Liverpool or City or Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern. They want Saka to go and win trophies. They're looking out. They're looking out for him. But it comes. I know that it looks like they're hating on him, but they're not. But there is a thing, as you said, there is a way that maybe because Saka leaves to go win trophies somewhere else if they don't win trophies. But I believe that he had to sign the contract now. He had to sign the contract now.
The comment here says Saka signed for money. Well, this is where I disagree. Yes, he's getting paid good money, but if Saka said, "I ain't signing a new deal, I'm leaving for free," he'd get offered £400,000, £500,000, £600,000 somewhere else. We know how much more money, because Gahey's contract was running out, he's been put on $300,000 a week as a centre back at City. If Bukayo Saka left Arsenal for free, do you realise how much money he would make through doing that? He'd earn substantially more money than he ever will do at Arsenal. He could almost, including image rights and bonuses, double his money. So again, this kind of narrative that he's only doing it for the money, if you understand football finance, and not many people do, it doesn't make any sense to make this claim. Of course, they're all being paid.
But I want to ask the people in the chat a question. Let me ask the people in the chat. Do you guys think that Bukayo Saka will shine somewhere else? I want to know. It's a yes or no question in the chat, people. It's a yes or no. Do you think Saka is that good to go and shine for Real Madrid or Bayern Munich or something? Or you don't think he's that good?
He can easily go to Real Madrid and shine. Well, what's stopping him? If you take him to, if he's, let's say Rodrigo leaves in the summer and he's the Rodrigo replacement, why won't he shine? Let's say Vinícius leaves and he's the Vini replacement, why won't he shine? What's stopping him?
Let me ask Terry, would you start him over in Mbeumo?
No. Yes and no. Yes and no, because I want to make sure I word this right, because we spoke about this yesterday on Straight Facts, not directly. Mbeumo's a better goal scorer than him, and I think always will be. I think Mbeumo scores goals better, but when it comes to dribbling, creativity, when it comes to other fundamentals of a winger, Saka is better. So for me, I wouldn't. It's not about would I start him instead of. I would like an attack that has both of them in it. I would like a team that can have them both in it, because Mbeumo for me is as effective centrally as he is on the right or the left, because he's not a winger that's there to dribble down the touchline and cross balls into the box. He's someone that's always going to drift in centrally anyway. So I feel like what Man United need, if Man United had somebody of Bukayo Saka's level on the left or the right, with Mbeumo on the opposite side, I think you've got a great mixture. If you've then got a striker that's good at holding up the ball, that can play both of them in, I think you're going to thrive. But I would take Bukayo Saka at Manchester United, absolutely. Absolutely, I would take him. But the Mbeumo thing's interesting, because I think Mbeumo is I think he's a goal scorer. I think he's the kind of goal scorer. If our system keeps getting better and we add better players, he's the kind of guy that can score you 20 goals a season. He did it. He's on track to do that again, to do it at Man United if his rate continues. And obviously we had a terrible manager before, and he was still scoring goals. I don't know if Saka will ever score like Mbeumo, 20+ league goals if he's in a really good team. But listen, you look at his dribbling, you look at his chance creation, you look at his crossing levels in comparison. He is another level to Mbeumo in those areas, and that's just facts. And that's not me slagging off Mbeumo. I love him, but I think they're different type of wingers. I think they do a different type of role. I'd love Saka at Man United, absolutely. I think he'd do a great job. I really would. We're going to put a poll up. Would Saka shine at PSG, Barca, or Real Madrid? The options are going to be all of them.
Definitely would. I think you're coping if you're saying he doesn't. I take him at Liverpool. We need a left back cover for Kirkaz. I'm just joking. I think he would obviously be better than Gakpo, play left wing. He'd cook for us as well.
Would you take him as the replacement for Salah when Salah leaves?
Yeah, when he leaves, yeah, of course. Why not?
Okay, fair enough.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think he would thrive at Liverpool even probably more with the way that we play. More attacking, more counter-attack opportunities.
I also think that's another reason. I also think it's another reason why people hate that he signed the new deal and others and Arsenal were in title races. Because I feel there was this feeling at Arsenal 2 or 3 years ago, maybe a bit more, where they had some really good talent. I felt the feeling from many was like Arsenal have got Saka and Gabriel and they've got Saliba, but give it a couple of years, they're not winning nothing, they're not challenging. And I think that United, but I think City and Liverpool fans and fans of other clubs felt like they'd be able to headhunt these players and take them away, and they've not been able to do it. And I think that sticks in the back of the throat of. So I remember when the other season where they thought they were going to come fourth and they collapsed at the end and came fifth. I remember in the back end of that season there was a lot of talk about Liverpool or City buying Saka, and Arsenal fans were like, "No, it's going to cost you too much. We're on our way up. He won't leave." And I feel that there was a big feeling that those clubs could get him away from Arsenal in the next 12 months. But since then, they've been in title race. They haven't won any trophies, granted, and they've got to add that. But because they've been in those title races, they've been one of the best teams in England. I think it annoys the fans of those other clubs because I know that they've gone, that Cherky can go out there now and they've signed Semenyo. But for the last couple of years, Saka would have been an amazing addition at Man City with all their other struggling wingers. And from a Liverpool point of view, with Salah being at the end of his career, how amazing would it be right now to have Saka in your squad as a kind of ready replacement? Now, I don't think Saka will ever score the volume of goals that Salah did, but that's why you went and bought Ekitike and Isak to replace the goals. You need someone that's maybe a bit more creative, and I think Saka does that well. We put a poll out to where you guys think he will be successful. Nara, I'm keeping my bald man. Mbuemo, yeah. No, listen, by the way, would I swap him? So I suppose that's a better question. If someone said now, Saka comes in, but you lose Mbuemo, I'd say no. And that's because scoring goals is a harder skill in football, in my opinion. And we've found someone that can score goals. And I don't want to get rid of that. I want to add creativity to it. So I wouldn't do...
Saka's better than Mbuemo in scoring goals. You scoring 20 goals with Brentford doesn't prove anything to me, to be honest with you.
Well... He scored 20 goals at Brentford, and he scored more goals this year.
9 with you, but I think Saka's been injured this season. I think Mbuemo is yet
equally. No, listen, Saka can score goals.
You're sticking by your player. It's
not about sticking by my player. Please don't do that. It's not. He scored 20 goals last year for Brentford. He has got 9 goals this year in a team that's only really come to life in the last couple of months. In the back end of Ruben, when he started to actually change the shape. And since Carrick has come in, suddenly there's goals and there's more of a threat. I feel that if we'd have been playing this way, as in the system would have been set up this way since the beginning of the season, I think Mbuemo would be near 15, 16 goals at Man United. I don't even think that's controversial with the way he scores and the way he operates. So I think Mbuemo is a really good goal scorer. But I already said, I think there's multiple other areas that Saka's better than him in. I wouldn't do the swap, though, because we've found someone that is a very good goal scorer, and I wouldn't risk it not working. Based on Saka's injury record, this is a bad deal for Arsenal. From my point of view, he's not far from an ACL or a Rooney-style drop-off at 28. But on Saka's side, he's set for life. Great deal for him, is what Dawn King says here.
When we say that, though, like how much is Saka on now?
20-something, 200-something.
Okay, so he's set for life anyway with the current contract.
Yeah, true. Based on gold stick logic, why would players sign for United when we are not even in contention to win any trophies this season? Me and Mark don't agree. Me and Mark agree to a certain extent on that. I think maybe another 10, 15. Yeah. Oh,
Goldstein.
Oh, Steen. Because I know Goldbridge has said something similar about like with our pools going. I think Man United's pool's got at least 15 years left in it. Like it's before people just go, nah, I don't fancy that. United will have that the whole time. And look, there's a good chance we're back in the Champions League this year. Suddenly that whole 1 year of having no pool goes away because you're back in the Champions League. So let's see what happens. Obviously a big game tonight for Arsenal, gents. Either of you see a slip up coming at all, or are they going 7 points clear tonight?
Slip
Mo
up?
told me he sees a slip up.
What?
Didn't you tell me you see a slip up tonight?
No, really, I didn't. Don't lie. Why are you lying?
When did I lie? You said you see a slip up today.
I didn't. When did I tell you this? When did we speak about this game, actually?
Didn't you say if they lose to Wolves, it's dangerous?
To me, saying that if they drop points to Wolves, that means I think they're going to slap Wolves. What are you talking about?
Ah, okay, fair enough. I thought you thought that they're going to drop points today.
I think they're going to slap. Of course they're going to slap Wolves. What are you talking about, bro?
I agree. I think Arsenal are going to slap the shit out of Wolves today. I don't think Arsenal fans should be worried. I think Arsenal fans need to stop panicking, to be honest. I think some of these Arsenal fans online just cry arsing all the time. It's a title race. It's February 18th. Get a grip. Not every lost point you're going to come online and start crying and shit. It's just, at the end of the day, this is title race with Man City. You know it's going all the way, so you need to control yourself. We understand.
Control yourself.
You know, it should have been 9 points, but guess what? It's 4. So now you're gonna have to just get over it, and you're gonna have to just support your team, back your team, and see what happens, and criticize stuff that deserve criticism and praise stuff that deserve praise. That's it. Very simple. For me, I look at this whole Arsenal thing, and you know, it's a game by game, week by week, you know, analysis. A lot of it, like, you know, the end of the world when Arsenal lose. To be honest, like, people keep saying stuff like, yeah, you know, we dropped points in games we shouldn't have. Well, guess what? City dropped points in games they shouldn't have either. Should City have lost to Brighton? Should City have, should City have done all these things? Like, they've dropped points in a lot of games that they should. To be honest, I don't even remember. City dropped so many points. I don't even remember the games that they dropped points in. 1 second. I know Brighton, they did that, I think, home and away. I know they dropped points to Spurs.
City dropped points in 10 games out of the 26 they played.
Well,
they lost to Man United.
Yeah, they also
drew
got
to
beat.
Brighton, drew to Chelsea, drew to Sunderland.
They also got beat by Man United when most people predicted a loss for Man United with Carrick's first game. A lot of people
Newcastle beat them 2-1 as well, the same stadium that Arsenal won in. So there's all, like, they lost to Aston Villa. There's all notion that like people speak like the thing for me, and I've been very consistent in this. The reason why I think Arsenal winning the league is because City ain't the Sharks. All this, the Sharks are coming. Sharks are coming where? This is the Dolphins. There is no blood to smell. There's nothing. I think City are in a good position right now. But just like Arsenal can drop points, City can drop points too. This thing that people think City are going to win 12 out of 12. No, they're not. No, they're not going to win 12 games out of 12. So I still think my opinion hasn't changed. I still think Arsenal will win the league. And I think Arsenal fans need to stop panicking. I do think, though, there are certain things that should be irritating, like the game away at Brentford. The moment, as example, where Mo pointed out, where Odegaard doesn't even play in Gyökeres. Fair enough. That, for me, is stuff to be mad at. You shouldn't go away to Brentford and drop points. I agree with that. But not every time you drop points, you come here and start crying. I think Arsenal will win the league, and I hope Arsenal win the league too.
Every single time, bro, Hassan. Every single time, every single point dropped, the crying start. It's not only the crying. Every single point dropped from Arsenal. I see the other side, which is that Chelsea, some of the Liverpool fans, some of the Man United fans, City fans are like, oh, this is why you're going to lose the league. Yeah, Brentford are a very tough team. And I think Arsenal, when everyone that's saying Arsenal will win against Brentford for sure. Have you seen Brentford play at their ground? Brentford are ridiculously good, and I'm not even defending Arsenal because I'm the first one to criticize Odegaard. I was the first one to criticize Mikel Arteta for his tactics, and I said that the team was scared. I said that the team didn't actually push forward when they needed to. Blah blah blah. But what the panic is unwarranted now.
I agree, but what's happening?
Rooney, even though I don't like Rooney, let me just say something, Terry. Even I don't like Rooney's punditry, right? But he said something in the overlap that is important. He said, like, people need to shut up. Like, the ex-players for Arsenal need to shut up. Why are you doubting the team? If you're behind the team, just shut up.
Bro, but I've been saying, no disrespect to Wayne Rooney, I've been saying the exact same thing for about 2 months to Arsenal fans. Rooney's right, because Rooney, one of those footballers, started his career when there was no social media, but ended it when there was and become a manager. And what goes on social media, what people say in the mainstream media gets into dressing rooms. And I've been saying it and listen, some will go, Terry, it's sort of hypocritical because you're here asking fans to come on and give their views and give their opinions. Now you're saying their fans should hold back from, I'm not saying lie, I'm just saying hold back from projecting your negativity and your nerves. That isn't lying. You know, there are times, I remember once on an aeroplane, and it was Ryanair. I was flying from England to Ireland, or Ireland to England with my son. And he was very young at the time, he was about 3-4 years old, but old enough to understand body language. And I can't lie, the turbulence was mad, to a point where people started screaming on the plane. It was up and down and crazy. And my little boy is holding onto my arm really tight. And he's like, is everything okay? And my face is like, oh, yeah, of course it is. It's just normal. Don't worry about it. Just relax. Watch. I think I said, watch something on my phone. Put your earphones in and don't worry about it. In my head, I'm going, we're going to die. We are going to die, because I really thought the plane was going to crash. But I can't tell my son that. I think it's the same logic. There are times in life where, again, someone goes, oh, you lied to your kid. There are times where you don't always tell the truth. And only psychopaths and sociopaths won't understand that. There are times you just got to hold it in. All right, what I'm going to do, if I'm talking today on a podcast about Arsenal, I'm going to praise the things that I'm genuinely happy about. The stuff that I'm worried about, I'm not even going to mention it. You don't need to put it out there. I agree with Rooney. On the other side of it, though, I do think there's a disrespect from City and Arsenal fans towards the league. And interestingly, from an Arsenal perspective, they spent 3 months fighting Liverpool fans that it's a really strong league, but then get annoyed that they're not running away with the league title. Because yes, they might want to be far ahead of City because they don't feel City are as formidable as they were. But what you're discounting is there's loads of really good teams. So it isn't a case of the reason City got so far ahead of teams in the Centurions year. Even Liverpool, the reason you got so far ahead in the year that you won the league with Klopp. Yes, you were brilliant teams. Amazing. But I don't think the quality of the league was as hard as it is now. That doesn't mean you wouldn't have won the league, but I think you wouldn't have won it as easily as you did had the quality been the same. Now, I believe that Liverpool team under Klopp could have challenged for every league title in any season ever in the Premier League. I'm not discounting the quality of that side, but do I think the league was as strong? No. Do I think the league is stronger now? Yes. What's one of the biggest indicators for that? We've got teams in the bottom half of our league table smashing it in Europe. I think it shows how strong we are now. Same as I said, by the way, said the same thing last year when Liverpool won the league. Everyone's like, oh, crap league. I went, no, Man United were crap. Spurs were crap, but the league's really quite strong. So I had the same energy last year. I'm maintaining that energy. The problem is you can't 1 minute argue it's a really strong league and the next minute be really upset that you haven't run away with the league title. Rarely do you run away with league
and
titles.
All the Arsenal fans last season that said Liverpool won a weak league title can hold that now as well.
No, equally. No, I said it to Gooners last year. I was like, guys, you guys saying it's a crap league. Like, you really think it's going to go from being crap to amazing in the space of a year if you win it next season? It rarely changes that quickly. It's normally a steady approach. And I feel like the league in the last 5-6 years has progressively got better and better and better. As an example, like last year, it's like, there's so many hard teams to beat away from home now. Like the last time I remember it being like that was in the mid-noughties, where there were just so many hard away games, so many tough teams. Ironically, another period where the English teams were killing it in Europe. There's a correlation in those two things that I feel hold some weight. And like Liverpool are not doing well enough to win the Premier League this year. You are capable of winning the Champions League. Spurs are fourth in the Champions League phase, and they're in a relegation battle in England. Now, some will say that's a fluke. Well, they came 17th last year and won the Europa League. It's 2 years running. There's something in that for me. So, yeah, I think I agree. Arsenal fans have got to relax.
Best tactical league, the hardest league to win now is the Premier League. It is very hard to win every game. Bro, there is no team. The fact that there are people that think that Arsenal can go to Wolves and Wolves can get something out of it proves how tough the league is. That Cunha and Mbeumo play for Man United and Gay plays for Man City and Semenyo plays for City.
If you put this Wolves team,
how hard is it?
If you put this Wolves team in the Derby season, this Wolves team finishes well above Derby. As much as they might finish with worse points, I don't think they're a worse team. I've watched them in so many games this year where you go, they're actually quite unlucky not to win. That Derby team was so bad at football. The Wolves team are not terrible at football. Like, I've seen them give a lot of teams a game this year, but just not quite have enough firepower or not enough from the bench. And they do deserve to go down. They've not been a great side, but it's not as though they're a rollover. Like tonight, a lot of people are predicting 5-6 nils. And the reason they're doing that is then if they only win 3-0, people can go, you only beat them 3-0. Tonight will be something like 3-1, if it's high scoring though, because Wolves will go for it at one point. So one thing Wolves do when they concede, I'm going to go with 3-1 tonight will be the score. But some people will kick off about that and go, it's not. There'll be some that be, ain't good enough. Oh, how are we going to win the league if we're not able to beat Wolves 5-0, 6-0? How is it going to be possible? It's like, calm down, like slow. But they will win tonight. They will go 7 points clear. The interesting thing for me that I wanted to ask you about is I saw Luke on the overlap yesterday say, look, yes, you're clear at the minute. It's in your hands, but Chelsea are 1 point. City are 1 point away from being in their hands. The issue with that is they can go 7 points behind tonight, and they won't play their game in hand until after the Arsenal game at the Etihad. How do you think City will handle in the next 3 or 4 Premier League games being 7 points behind, as you can see it on the screen? Because the points are there; they've been won.
Yeah, that's the thing. Points on the board are way more important than games in hand. That's the truth, because you've got to go out there and win those games, and you never know. By the way, Newcastle come to the Etihad this Saturday. It's not a gimme. It's not a guarantee that Newcastle win that game. City win that game. All this like, oh my God, Arsenal will bottle it. City have bottled it many times, by the way. Like, City had the chance to go above Arsenal multiple times 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. They had opportunities, and they just didn't do it. Chelsea, Newcastle, Sunderland, blah, blah, blah. A lot of times they drop points. So, for me, it's like a lot of these games in the Premier League now is very difficult to win. The one thing I will say, though, as well with Mo is not just tactics. I think some of these players as well, you have to take the game by the scruff of the neck. Like the likes of Eze and Odegaard, very disappointing performances away at Brentford. Very disappointing performances away at Brentford. I don't think they didn't take the game by the scruff of the neck at all. I came out of that game as an example, almost feeling bad for Gyökeres, because like I didn't even think he was bad at all. He put Timber through on goal. He had a lot of good moments, good link-up moments. And got into spaces many times, as Mo pointed out, played on the shoulder of the defender many times as well, but they just couldn't find them in space. So sometimes some of these players just need to get a grip, get it together, and they need to perform out there on the football pitch, because it's all, look, the whole thing with like Arteta, that's the very easy thing to say. Anyone can go live. My mother can go live on YouTube and go like, Arteta haven't won the league and we have no proof, and blah. We get it. Khalas, we understand. If it were up to me or Mo or whoever, and we had the chance, I don't know Terry's opinion, so I'm not going to speak for him. But if you had the chance in the summer to replace Arteta with a good manager or blah, 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 everyone would have done it. He's here now. What do you want me to say every week? Arteta should be sacked. Khalas, ya akhi, it's boring, bro. Let's actually analyze what's happening in front of us on the football pitch. Odegaard should have played Gyökeres through on goal. He didn't. Eze had, for me, stinker 45 minutes away at Brentford. Declan Rice, very good player, should have also played Gyökeres through on goal in one of those moments. So, yeah, I think they need to be able to take risks a bit more for their team. Mm-hmm. I think the one guy that's shown the ability to take risks from the start of the season until now in their front line is Trossard for me. I think he's been probably Arsenal's best forward. And to be honest, the numbers show it too.
When they took risks and Hincapié crossed first time, they scored the goal. It's as simple as that. You don't have to pass it to the goal.
No,
just cross it, bro. Like, bro, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm like, Odegaard for me is slowly becoming dead food. To be honest with you, slowly becoming dead food. The way he plays, I know that it's good. Like, he passes the ball well. He passes the eye test. The guy has to do something different. He has to do a Bruno Fernandes. He has to do a Kevin De Bruyne. He has to take risks. He cannot play the safe ones most of the time. Yeah, bro, he's there, and I think he's one of the problems at Arsenal, to be honest. If that is your creative guy in the middle, and he doesn't want to take risks, he doesn't want to pass to his team.
I realized something more. A lot of these players, who does consensus football fans rate? Gabriel, Saliba, Rice. The rest, and probably to an extent Timber, but even now he's getting cooked by a few people. And Raya to an extent. A lot of the football fans don't rate a lot of these players. So come time, if Arsenal do actually win the league, they're going to have to give Arteta a lot of credit. It's the truth that many people are really not ready for. Because if you don't really rate a lot of these players and Arteta manages to beat Pep, you're going to have to give credit to Mikel Arteta. You really have to. So, like Saka's overrated and this guy's overrated, that guy's overrated. Okay, great. When they win the league, then they won it with an overrated team.
But that's an argument again, and this is where when Man United fans join in with that banter, I'm like, oh, guys, you're losing it here, because this is one thing that the mainstream media and our haters have said about Sir Alex. And we've had this debate on here before, where you'll always hear 1 minute it's Fergie weren't that special, didn't have great tactics, wasn't that great a manager. He just he had the players to get him through. The next minute you'll hear people say, well, Giggs weren't that great, Scholes weren't that great, Beckham weren't that great, Rooney was overrated. All our players are like overrated, not that great. And you sit there and go, well, hang on a minute. A manager that weren't as brilliant as you've said, plus all these players that are overrated, how do they destroy all your teams domestically for a 25-year period? Why are we so much better consistently than all of you? Something's got to give. So it even means the manager was just better than anything else. So if our players are all overrated, it means Fergie's 13 league titles destroy that of Pep Guardiola's, who's done it with really good players, right? Or the other way around, where the manager was average, but the players have to be superior to have got through it without a decent manager. Or it could just be the honest truth, like with Pep, like with Klopp's teams, like with all the best teams. Fucking top class manager, really good squad. But people don't like to admit that. They always want to try and put you down. And this is the issue, where you start attacking Arsenal in every which way, then you go, right, hang on. So in one breath, you're saying, I mean, this is the most embarrassing bit. Let's pretend they've got a really crap manager, not run that well, and an average squad. Them winning the league at any point is an embarrassment to City and Liverpool. Like, you lot should be ashamed of yourselves, letting a team with bang average players and a bang average manager win. What's going on? So either way you do it, you end up looking worse than they do. So yeah, some people overdo the banter.
Let me ask you a question, Terry, that Mo asked that I couldn't answer. But I want to ask you the question, just like...
Go on.
And I think it's a very interesting question. We know if Arsenal, all three of us predict Arsenal to win the league. And if they do win the league in the summer, we know what the conversation is going to be like. Next season is going to be very exciting, blah, blah, blah. Where does football go if City wins the league? Just think about it. Like, legitimately, deep this. Let's say
I know the answer.
Pep wins the league this season. Now what?
So, look, if Pep stays, it just means... So let's go back a slight step before that. One of the reasons why Arsenal fans are panicking is because Pep's the manager of City. And I think if social media existed back in the day, when the Arsenals and the Newcastles and the Liverpools in 2009 were being chased down by Man United and Sir Alex, I think you'd have seen the same reaction. Because it feels inevitable, because they win it so much and so regularly. So if City win it and Pep stays, you'll get that same feeling next year. You'll get that kind of feeling from Liverpool fans and Arsenal fans, that are the two that right now people expect to be in the title race next year. There'll be that, oh, but it's City and it's Pep and there's no way we're going to win. So they're a bit downbeat. The Chelseas and the Man United will sit there and go, oh, Pep's still here, still not winning the league either.
But we can rebuild for another 2 years until he leaves.
Yeah. But whether they win it or not, if Pep leaves, that completely and utterly changes. Because my view on Pep and City, it's not a dig, it's a compliment, if anything, is they may never... I don't think they'll have a manager again for the next 20, 30 years as good as Pep. That's because I think Pep is one of the greatest of all time. So the positive thing about Pep leaving is so unlikely the next guy is going to be as good. It will almost certainly make City more human and more beatable than they are now. So I don't think it's about whether City win the league or not. Because if City don't win the league and Arsenal win it, they'll be less fearful of Pep the next time he's chasing them, but Pep will always have that fear factor. Pep will always scare people because of his record and what he's done. There's no same as if Klopp was here, Klopp would scare people, Fergie would scare people, Pete Jose would scare people. It's more about if Pep stays or goes. Because if Pep leaves, I don't even know if they're going to sign a true world-class manager to replace him, not as a dig. I don't know who these people keep talking about. Man United getting an elite manager outside of Tuchel and Enrique. Who are these guys? And Tuchel's certainly not as good as Pep. So it's one of these things to me where it's about him leaving. Sorry?
Nowhere near, specifically in a league scenario.
Exactly.
If Tuchel was the current manager of Manchester City, Arsenal winning the league guaranteed.
Pep's not elite. Pep isn't elite. Pep is an alien. Pep's on a different level to elite. There's a handful of managers in history that are not elite. They're not world class. They're above that. They're out the stratosphere. Sir Alex is in there, Pep is in there as an example. Everyone else can put their people. Those two for me are guarantees to be in that group.
I think even Mourinho at his peak, like getting 90-something points, having only 15 goals.
Mourinho at his peak, absolutely. There's a lot of managers that I think Ancelotti at his peak because of all the Champions League goes into that as an example. The point is that I think it's more about what about football. I think every club will fancy it. Like all the top clubs next season, if Pep isn't here, will half fancy themselves to win the league. All of them, if they have good summers. So, for instance, if Chelsea go out and actually buy proper top-class experienced players, if Man United have another summer like last year, but midfield, go out and get Tonali and Walton, a really good. I'm making them. Don't get triggered by the name I'm about to use here, Mo. Get Bastoni. Go and get Thiago from Brentford, but he comes to Man United and keeps scoring at that rate. If we went and did that, and we got a really good manager come in, and Pep leaves, there'll be this half a belief of, oh, you never know now. You never know. Because Pep's the guy that unless you've been a team that you felt could get mid-90 points, you've not felt confident at the start of the season of winning the league. So that changes, I think, when Pep leaves, barring the fact that, but the opposite side is, if Arsenal end up winning this and they win it well, are they going to drop off next year? Are they going to be as formidable as we've seen them be this season? That they might not. I'm not saying they're going to become the new City and Pep, because Arteta's a long way away from people fearing him on the same level as a Pep, because Pep's had all these 20 years of winning. But I think everyone, if Pep leaves, will fancy their chances to win the league next year 10 times more than they fancy it if he stays in the Premier League, personally. So for me, it's not about City directly. It's about Pep staying or going. Not leaving. He might, bruv. He might go.
If he wins the league and he stays, then what?
Then I feel that people will enjoy their summer and who they sign. But I think when it comes to predicting who's going to win the league, everyone will just go City. And even if a team's 3 or 4 points ahead of City, it will be, but he's going to catch us. So you just won't get the excitement. It won't be a fully exciting season. Maybe if a Man United, when Arsenal had that great, if we won our first 12 games of the season, I'm making this up here because I'm trying to create an example, so no one get panicky in the comments. Because we haven't done that for so long, or ever, I don't think we ever won our first 12, you might get like a massive burst of excitement. But if we look over our shoulder and sit here a point behind, it'll be like, it'll go flat, because there'll be this inevitable feeling of we're going to get caught by him. And I feel that that's the issue when Pep's... It's not an issue for City or Pep, it's an issue for everybody else. And I feel like if City overtake Arsenal again, it could do a lot of psychological damage. And it reminds me for Arsenal this year, I don't know if you guys were watching the Terrace back then, but when it was the Spurs-Liverpool Champions League final, my big prediction before that game was the winner goes on to win more things with that manager, and the losers team is going to fall apart. And I mean, it's maybe one of the truest predictions I've ever had when it comes to football. And I felt that you guys could, because it would have been something like your third or fourth defeat in a final with him. You weren't quite in the league race at that point. And I just felt like that would have just burst the balloon. Instead, it inflated it further. And I feel like that if Arsenal get to the end of the season with no trophies and City overtake them in the league, it might just break their resolve of being able to beat a Pep City team. But the other way, it could do all sorts of things. But yeah, Pep's got to leave for me. On so many levels. Piss off, Pep.
Yeah, to be honest, he's too good. He's too good.
A few super chats for the end. This is Dear Hussam, Mo and Tel, mark my words, win or lose, the narrative will never be about City. It just won't be for obvious reasons. We all know why.
No one's saying the narrative will be about City. We're saying, where will football go from here? Those are two different things.
The Premier League, like, who's going to be predicting anybody else to win the league next season? Does it matter who you sign in the summer? Because City can go and eclipse that in the January transfer window and just catch you whatever you do. Unless City get a massive injury or something like this, like what happened last season, or Liverpool or Arsenal have a player that gets like 50 GA in a Premier League season, which doesn't happen. It happens every 20 years. The last one who did it was Thierry Henry 20 years ago, actually, before Salah did it again.
I agree.
That would be the case.
This year says, guys, as a Liverpool fan, I hate City for all the hurt I went through. Hussam feels the same way, but my best friend is a positive Arsenal fan. I'm surrounded by them as the only red fan. He's prayed for my downfall.
That's another thing as well. Look, for me, I hate Manchester City and I will never root for them. But let's not change history. When Liverpool were going up against Manchester City and that Goliath squad, that's even way better than this current City side, there were Arsenal fans saying, City save football. Liverpool fans will be so unbearable if they win a league title.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's
so
crazy.
let's not forget. Let's not change history, yeah?
No,
All the guys. I remember what you did to the likes of myself 5 years ago.
Matt here says, okay, let's calm down on the slapping. We beat Grimsby at the weekend and not many top 6 teams can say that. Enjoy the championship next year. Enjoy the championship, you mug. D here says the disrespect on Arsenal is a chronic disease. Yeah, for some people it is. Some people it's jarring. It really, really is. Look, I want to thank every person who's tuned into the show today. This is going to redirect you to Judge Mo's channel. He's going live now. We will be back after the Champions League and the Arsenal Wolves game this evening for the Full Fan Highlight Show. So we look forward to seeing as many of you back there as possible tonight. Gentlemen, always a pleasure to sit and speak football with the two of you. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.